Welcome. This is about a 15-minute gentle, soft practice to wind us down for bed. So come on and join me on your mat. Okay, so let's roll down onto our backs and hug the knees in there. And let's just start to focus on the sensation of our back bodies against the earth. And then the feeling of breathing against the earth. So inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Do that again. Just feel the back body expanding on the inhale. And settling on the exhale. Keep just the right knee in. Extend the left leg onto the floor. Okay, so not hovering it, but onto the floor. Hug that right knee in any amount and then stretch actively through the left leg, really opening up the front of the hip, as well as pushing on the ascending colon. So pushing on the ascending colon and the descending colon is good for just mobilization of the bowels. And then switching sides, left knee in, right leg extends. Keep the jaw and the shoulders as relaxed as possible. Extend through that right leg. Keep your focus on your breathing. Hug both knees in, and let's go into the groin a little bit. So let the knees part just to where they're comfortable and hold on to the, just kind of below the kneecaps. Breathing here, or if you add a little movement and you like that side to side, or even front to back, alternately with the knees, you can play with any movement here, as long as it feels safe and it feels good. Let a little bit of looseness come into those hips, a little bit more blood flow. And then hug the knees back in, and then point and flex through the ankles, and maybe even wiggle your toes around, just being sweet to the joints. Now bring the soles of the feet down onto the floor. Reach your arms back and reach your fingertips actively to the wall behind you. Inhale here. And as you exhale, float the arms down by your sides. Inhale, float the arms up and back. Exhale, float the arms down. So we're winding down for bed, and I don't want you to feel like you're really holding onto the core. So just let the whole torso be nice and easy. Inhale and exhale. Nice. And then go ahead and come on to a all fours position just for a moment. If you want to pad your knees here, you can. And press back into a child's pose. Walk the fingertips further forward. And I love movement on this one, adding a little swish and sway side to side, getting into the nitty gritty. And as we began that class, let's use our lungs to get into more internal space. So inhale fully through the nose. And exhale through the nose. And then rise up to all fours, padding under the knees. I'm definitely going to use mine for this one, so you might do that too. And let's open our hearts forward and lift our hips up. And as we round, drape the tail, drape the head, open that back body, and open the back door to the heart. And 3 more cycles. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, round. So we're finding spinal mobility here and through extension and flexion. Try to get all the breathing through the nose if you can. One more time through, lengthening the heart and the hips up, and then exhale, rounding down. And then from here, part your knees a little wider, keep the toes together. The knees can go quite wide if that feels okay. And either come back into a classic child's again, or you can take, this will be my right arm in this case, you can take your right arm, thread it underneath, that palm will be up, left palm will be down, breathing here for a head of the shoulder opening here. So feel free to add that stretch or stay in classic child's. Breath is key. Replacing that right hand down, left hand palm turns up, And coming into that shoulder stretch, walking that right arm a little more forward, palm down, left palm up, breathing here if you've chosen this. We're getting the shoulders at this point and the spine and the hips. Come back into that classic child's. Take a full inhale and sigh out, this time through the mouth. Come back up to the last time that you'll be in all fours. Take the fingertips and point them towards the knees. Really great stretch for carrying things, drawing, writing, being on the computer, or even driving. Stay here, or you can do another few cat-cow rounds, which you'll probably feel the stretch more so, especially in the cat position like this, for the underside of those forearms. And go ahead and release that. Take your padding off to the side and we'll once again join on our backs. We're gonna come into some twisting, so I would move your props out of the way for that so your legs won't be touching onto the props unless you actually want that, which can be useful. So we'll hug the knees back in, keep the right knee in, extend the left leg. Cross the right knee over to the left side. Now this is where I'm talking about maybe putting some height of a prop, maybe a block or a blanket or a towel. Right arm unfurls, palm facing up. You can do cactus shape with the right arm or straight line. I want you to feel into what the shoulder and the pectoral muscles need and move that arm around until you find the spaciousness that feels good. I'm using my left hand on the outside of my right knee to just place it there and breathe. You might need to pick up the head and elongate the back of the neck and place it back down to make sure that the chin's not jutting up. And conversely, you could also put a blanket under the head. Unwind that and take it to the other side, hugging the left knee in. If you use some propping, I recommend using it on the opposite side as well. Left knee in, cross the midline over to the right, left arm. Again, finding that position that feels useful to you. We want to feel that we're giving ourselves an attainable stretch, that we are getting into our body, nurturing our joints, right? But we're not really struggling to try to make a shape. That defeats the purpose, and it might kick up a little cortisol, and that is not what we want at this point as we're headed to bed. Just relax the belly here and let your breathing be free. Unwind back to the center and move your prop to the side. Hug those knees back in again. Point and flex again through the ankles. And then this time we'll go ahead and bring the legs up and bend. Bring the legs up and bend, just gentle stretching. Now, when you bring the legs up, they might not go all the way to straight. Don't worry about it. We're just being sweet with the knee joints. And again, this is really good for varicose veins and moving the lymph in our body, because the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump like the heart has for the blood. One more time, straight and bend. And then from here, Apanasana, hands to the kneecaps or behind. We're going to move the knees away, let the low back lift, move the knees forward, let the low back come down. Pressing away and in. Just being sweet with the pelvis and the movement of the lumbar. 3. Just 2 more. Really good for digestion and elimination as well. Anytime we move those structures at the belly, and hug in. Then take your soles of your feet down, cross your right ankle, so the outer side of your right ankle to the top of the left knee. Make a little L shape between the ankle and the shin. You might stay right here. This is a great place to stay if you're feeling a stretch. If you're not feeling a stretch, same thing. You can interlace behind or in front of the knee. And I love to give this one a left to right rocking. Not necessary. You might stay right here and breathe. Easing out through the glutes and trying to be sweet and tender to the hips at a depth right? So really getting into them, but not forcing them into a space they're not ready for. If you are really open in the hamstrings and you love to straighten that lower leg and hold on behind the calf, you can. Okay, for most of us, we're going to stay in that first option. Unwind, bring the soles of the feet down. Press into the floor, lift the pelvis just a baby bit to open up the front of the hips and back down. We'll do that 2 more times. Press down into the floor, lift a baby bit up and back down. And then just 1 more time. Bridging up slightly and down to the floor. Cross the left ankle now to the top of the right knee and hang out here, of course. That's the first option. Or drawing in, interlacing in front or behind that right knee. Could be movement here, could be holding the pose where it is and letting the breath be the movement. So the breath should always be the movement, but you can add structural movement as well as that feels good on your system. Just sending a whole lot of love to that hip joint, to those glutes. You know, it's funny, but a lot of people do hold tension in their glutes. It's a natural thing, especially if they're experiencing low back pain or really tight hamstrings. The glutes can really take on a lot of stress. So we want to say, thank you, glutes. We love you. You can relax now. If you're one of those people who really like to straighten that leg that's further away and get the hamstrings there, you absolutely can. But again, most of us are going to be in the first option. Unwind the knees, soles of the feet down. Baby bridge, press into the floor. It's a baby bridge, don't go all the way up. Exhale, lower to hover this time. Baby bridge up and lower to hover. Last one, baby bridge up and lower to hover. Okay, so you can stay with your knees bent for your Shavasana if that feels better for you. You can even use your blanket or a bolster or a towel. I love this option underneath, behind the knees. And it doesn't have to be right behind the knees. It can actually be even kind of behind the knees and kind of the thighs a little bit. But coming on down for Shavasana. A big mistake that I used to make in my Shavasana was I was just kind of trying to still be in some sort of a rigid pose and until I realized, oh, this means just pour yourself onto the mat. So pour yourself. We are 60+% liquid, so let's come into that, bring that about into our mind's eye and let the feet open like a book, let the hips relax and completely release. And where is the placement of the hands? So I want you to be very particular on maybe the abdomen, maybe the solar plexus, maybe the heart, maybe beside you. If you need more shoulder opening, then maybe above you with the hands stacked. But whatever you do, none of this is rigid and it can all change. Maybe you choose something and then you're like, that wasn't the right space. Come back to a better space. And we're just going to drift here. Let the belly be completely slack. You might take a big sigh out. And feel free to stay here in your Shavasana as long as you like. If you're already feeling really tired and you would like to move from sort of an active, wakeful Shavasana to a full-on sleep, then I would go ahead and pause the video now or stop the video now and go climb into bed. And for the rest of us, let's take just a few more settling breaths. And as much as you can, relax at the bridge of your nose, close the eyes, and let the body do what it's meant to do. Be breathed and be in harmony. You might set your intention for your sleep. What would you like to happen in your sleep? Restfulness, calm, healing. Let that be in your heart and let that travel along your breath. Go a little deeper. And I'd like you to stay in that really soft space as you move your hands around, your feet, whatever it is. And very carefully, you want to kind of stay close to the ground as you first bring your knees in for another lumbar stretch. And then very carefully rolling to seated. And keep your eyes soft and relaxed. You might even keep them closed. Bring your hands together to your heart center. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a very restful sleep and sweet dreams. Thank you so much for showing up. Namaste.